they understand that they have to employ the same strategies every time they write, and that is to brainstorm, to create a draft, to proofread and revise, all the strategies that we've been taught in process writing. And of course, there's a grammar mini lesson in the back of the book that looks like this. So in the upper levels in books 3 through 6, there are 12 lessons across 4 strategically themed units: the work and life skills, reading address topics relevant to today's adults. The social studies and science units prepare students for future HSC level work. And the literature units introduce authentic pieces of literature, such as, oh, I keep moving this cursor. Okay. So some of the literature might include To Build a Fire, Little Women, Aesop's Fables, just to name a few. A few of them have been adapted to the appropriate reading level for each level of the book. As in books 1 and 2, there's a review for every unit and grammar mini lessons in the back of each book where the answer key is found. And those books look like, I feel like Vanna White. So here's book 3 and 4, just so that you can see the upper levels. 5 I don't have with me, but it exists, okay? All right, so moving on. There is a teacher guide and a scope and sequence that is available with the Journey to Success program. And this is what the scope and sequence chart looks like. So you're able to see what the lessons are in reading, pre-reading strategies, and so on. Journey to Success also includes a level review for monitoring student skills progress. As you can see here, that's always very important to know how students are doing at each interval so that you will know how to you will know whether or not you need to go back or to go forward. Well, there's some good news. There are a variety of reading and writing photocopy masters of charts and graphic organizers. Book 3, going back to book 3, which looks like this, has 13 of these graphic, charts and graphic organizers. There's a placement tool also available so that you can diagnose properly to put them in the right level of book. If you would like to receive any of these items for free, please email me after the webinar today, along with what state you represent. And this is my email address. I'm going to pause here for those of you who may want to write it down. It's nrp.vsmith@gmail.com. And at the end, if you need for me to repeat that, I certainly will. So this concludes the introductory level through 6 offerings of Journey to Success. Now let's take a look at the next level of support. And let me also stop here. Kevin, if you can find out if there are any questions about the Journey to Success before I move on to the next.
Okay.
That would be great.
Let's see.
And while you're looking for, I assume you're looking to see how to do that. And while you're doing that, let me just mention again that Journey to Success is correlated to the College and Career Readiness Standards. It's also correlated to TABE 1112 and to CASAS. How are we doing, Kevin? Any questions? And if you would like, and I know that we ask everybody to mute your computers. If you would like at this point, before I move on, you can unmute to ask a question. I'll give you just a few seconds to do that, and if not, I'll move on. And by the way, if someone other than Kevin is speaking, I don't hear you.
I don't see anything on the chat. Just welcome. Somebody's from Louisiana. Somebody else is from Rhode Island.
Oh my, welcome.
No other questions now.
Okay, then let's move on to the pre-high school equivalency workbooks. And this would be for levels 6 through 8, which many of you I'm sure had. As you know, some students are not prepared to take the GED, the HiSET, or the TAS tests. And for this reason, New Readers Press created a 7 workbook series designed to provide practice for those functioning between 6th and 8th grade levels. It is organized as follows. You can see here the 7 titles. And as a matter of fact, let me go into my Vanna White mode just to show you what a couple of the copies look like. This one happens to be Math 1 and Math 2. I also have writing here, if you can see it. Now, you might ask, well, do these have staples in them? They do, but they are easily removed on the side. I hope you can see this, but they are easily removed on the side should you decide that this is something that you want to have. So the 7 workbooks include math operations, that's Math 1. So we're talking about math operations, decimals, fractions, and so on. Math 2, algebraic thinking, data analysis, and probability. Reading comprehension and critical thinking. Science, scientific reasoning, practice, and data analysis. Social studies, writing 1, which is grammar, spelling, and the writing basics, and writing 2, which is developing and organizing written responses, which they need a lot of practice in. So here's the opening of the book. In fact, this is the opening of the pre-high school equivalency Math 1 book. This is the skills inventory pretest and diagnostic, a chart and answer key. The results of the inventory will help your students and teachers target those areas most in need of improvement. This slide represents the skills inventory page, as I mentioned before, from Math Book 1. Each 2-page math lesson includes an explanation of a specific strategy, guided examples of how to solve problems, and practice activities. I love this series, as a matter of fact. So the math strategies include using exponents and roots, using scientific notation, calculating area, surface, and volume, navigating multiple choice questions, using multiple step equations, graphing linear equations, and investigating sampling methods and frequency tables. The same format holds true for all 7 subjects. That is a 2-page writing lesson, includes explanation of the specific strategy, guided examples, common errors to avoid, practice and extension activities. And this gives you an idea of some of the writing strategies included in the writing book.
We do have a question.
Okay.
Are these books scanned in and can be pulled off a computer, or are they all workbooks?
They are all workbooks. We talked about that a little at the company, and apparently, it's fairly complicated for us to do that in bulk. So the decision was made in some cases that they would, allow printing of or scanning to a certain degree, but what I would ask that you do is to contact me with your questions about this via email. And so where there are specific instances of people who definitely want to do that, I will take it to the company and see if I can get permission to do that. Does that answer your question?
We have someone from Florida. They said no questions, but they are already using Journey to Success, Score Boost, and News for You in our state facilities. Love New Readers Press products.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome, Florida.
And we have another question. Is there any additional practice for skills somewhere else in the book? Frequently, students need more than one page of practice.
I agree, and we're going to get to that shortly. Just hang on a sec.
All right.
Anybody else?
That's
okay.
it.
Okay. So just to repeat, again, I'm just showing you the consistency in format. This happens to be the social studies and science one. Again, the same type of strategies are employed. So there is also examples of the GED tests include a simulated drop-down menu, an open response, a full page of practice questions are included in each lesson. And it's important to note that these questions were drawn from different item types found on all three tests. So that would be the HiSET, the GED, and the TASK test, because we know as of 2014, the country pretty much split, the states pretty much split, I should say, and each has decided to use their own form of testing for a variety of reasons. And the GED test is no longer, well, it's still the dominant player, but it's got competition, right? And that's okay, there should be. Examples of the task tests include gridded response items and no change responses that you'll find on the task test. So that's available. Their examples of HiSET questions include poetry questions and the 5-option multiple choice math questions. There are answers and explanations for all practice questions. Continue the learning process. And then there's the post-test, which helps determine HSE test preparation readiness. And I bolded the word readiness because sometimes students think if they've mastered a certain level, they're ready to take the test. And this is pre-HSE level, so I just want to be clear about that. The post-test also mimics the HSE test items. It includes answers and explanations and a diagnostic chart. Now, moving on to material still at the pre-HSE level, that's 6 to 8, that's the sweet spot, for most students that we work with. And that set of is called Core Skills in Reading and Writing. We have for all 4 subjects, math, social studies, and science. And let me show you what they look like. Here, I happen to have the science and the reading with me. Now, these books contain 160 pages. And these books were put together primarily for the reason, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the person who asked the question about extended practice. This series of books were put together precisely for that reason. You will not run out of, or I should say students will not run out of practice opportunities in this series. So it's really just for additional skill building practice opportunities. Any questions about this particular series? Let me tell you, in science, it covers everything that a student would be required to know for the test, even though they wouldn't be ready to take the test at this level, unless, for certain individuals who might accelerate to the point that they can go right into the GED level or HSE level material. And I do want you to know that there are separate vocabulary books as well that focus on life skills and workforce and those kinds of things. And this is written, the lowest one is 4th grade level, and the others are 6, 8. And of course, I didn't prepare information about all of these because it would take much too long. And I was told 45 minutes. So let me move on to the next one.
Yeah. We have a question.
Okay.
Is there a package for Journey to Success books 1 through 6?
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, can you get a set?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then we don't want to ignore math because that's a very important subject that students should master. And in this book, allow me to do my Vanna White again, looks like this. It's 4 lesson strands. The 4 lesson strands cover a variety of instructional approaches, which include the skills practice and tools to help students independently problem solve and prepare for their designated HSE tests. So that is also available too. Here is the well-known, or what might be a well-known series, the well-known series that many of you have heard about, and that is Score Boost. I came to the company in 2013, and prior to that, I was with another company, and I used to see these Score Boost books around all the time, and teachers, they were just like fans of Score Boost, and I'm like, what a name. And then when I came to the company, I saw what all the fuss was about, because if you're working with students at that HSE level and you're really trying to get them to the finish line, these are the series of books that you want to explore. They've been used successfully in adult education programs throughout the United States, and teachers just love these books. They're supplemental workbooks, and they provide a step-by-step process for answering GED type of questions. And if I could, once again, show you that we have them available for the task, and you can see that up top. And here's one for the GED. And we have them for the high set as well. Let me go back. By the way, these are consumable workbooks. There's writing.
Oops, I'm late.
Hi, whoever you are. Writing across the text. We have the math on all levels. Every book that you see here is designed to mimic what's going to be on the test. So what we have are 11 to 16 targeted strategies per book. Once again, it's designed with research-based strategies included. Here we go. I was looking for this page. All right. So the first thing that it does is it explains what they're asking of the student. It models for the student and then provides a guided practice. There's a think feature, which is written in the first person to model how a student should think about solving a problem. And then there's the test-wise feature, which provides either a test-taking tip, strategy, or reminder to do something. And then in the fourth step, it provides the application and the strategy.
Valencia, we have a comment from State of Washington.
Yes.
Steve says, extremely useful series being used, been using Score Boost since 2013 in the State of Washington Corrections Education Department.
Wow, for as long as I've been with New Readers Press, 2013. Yes, and since that time, and thank you for your comment, and since that time, of course, I want you to know, I always sort of brag about this. As everybody knows, the test changed in 2014. And at that time, teachers and administrators were pulling their hair out because they had no materials. And New Readers Press very smartly had the 2014 based, had the score boost available for the 2014, and we were the only company that was ready. So, you know, I don't look forward to the next change in test because it was just crazy, right? It was crazy for all of us. Okay, so any other questions about Score Boost? And by the way, this is the second page, which helps students to apply the new strategy, and the lesson ends with open-ended questions. So here's the cumulative unit practice. At the end of every unit, there are 10 to 20 practice questions and an additional 10 to 15 online practice questions representing all item types. Following the practice questions, the Score Boost action plan uses a diagnostic chart to determine where students need to do more work. Strategy by strategy, unit by unit, Score Boost provides cumulative GED, HiSET, and task test practice. There's an answer key in the back with answers and explanations. And this will give you an idea of what the practice, GED test practice key looks like in the back of the book. Wow, I got finished faster than I thought. Well, actually, right on time. It's 2 minutes, 2 minutes before the 11 o'clock hour. So let me have any other questions you may have. In the meantime, I'm going to move to the next screen, which has my office phone number and email address. So for those of you who just recently logged on to the webinar, I mentioned earlier, if you were interested in photo master copies belonging to the Journey to Success series, I would be more than happy to provide that for you. But you'll have to send me a request and let me know what state you represent. Kevin? Are there
Yes.
questions for me?
I don't see any questions at this point.
Well, I hope this has been useful for you. It's very difficult to provide, to do a presentation that includes almost everything. But I certainly wanted to focus on materials that would be of benefit for teachers of all levels. And so the pre-HSE and HSE teachers had to be a little patient while I dealt with the literacy and the low-level learners. But hopefully there was something for everyone, for the low-level struggling readers to that mid-level population of 6 to 8 learners, as well as those who are functioning at a high school level. There is much more to view, and I should have actually, I don't know if you can see that very tiny writing there. I should have put it along with my name, but there's always newreaderspress.com if you want to take a look at anything else that you think would be helpful to you. And finally, let me just say that I take my hat off to you, because trying to maintain some kind of momentum with your students in an era of a pandemic is a very difficult and challenging thing to do. So I take my hat off to you for doing everything that you can to support them. Thank you very much.
All right, I do have a couple of comments. Maddie from New Jersey Juvenile Corrections, Juvenile Justice Commission says, thank you. Cheryl says, I don't see on the website about the journey to success. She says it seems like they're only being sold separately, the 1 through 6.
Oh, was she asking if it was shrink wrapped as a set, or if you could get it as a set?
Get it as a set.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you can get it as a set, but it's not shrink wrapped as a set.
Okay. All right. Kim says thank you. She's a math teacher from New Hampshire.
Thank you, Kim.
We also have Jeremy from Juvenile Justice says, thank you so much. Dr. Al Alba, who's the president of Rhode Island's Correctional Education Association, says, thank you very much for providing us all this information on your great products.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate the opportunity.
We also have Christina from Iowa State Penitentiary. We are currently using just about all of the Reader's Press materials that you have shown today. What can we do to be able to recreate some of these worksheets and pages out of the material, i.e. copy some of the tests?
When it comes to not only New Reader's Press, but with all educational publishing companies, all publishing companies, we run the risk of running into copyright infringement, because don't forget, with these materials, authors have to be compensated, and so when copies are mass produced, then we get into a conflict. Let's just put it that way. And so that's why I ask those of you who have a particular situation where you want to know if you can scan certain items, let me dig into that a little deeper, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. And I will follow up with the company to see, what is the minimum that we will allow for certain things. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
We also have Jonathan, Dawn, and Saeed from New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission. They also say thank you for the very informative workshop.
Thank you.
And New Hampshire Department of Corrections, we have Gregory, who also said it was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also Elvin from New Jersey Department of Corrections says, thank you very much, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, Elvin. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Ah, very good. I hear a voice. I miss hearing voices. Give me face-to-face presentations.
I know.
Thank you all very much.